Welcome to the depths of the strange, otherworldly, unknown, paranormal, and much more, where we explore theories that defy logic, reason, and will leave you questioning reality itself. High above the world, where the air is thin and the mist never lifts, lies BENMACDHUI, Scotland's second highest mountain. But those who climb its desolate slopes whisper of something far more terrifying than the unforgiving terrain. A presence, something vast, something watching. They call it the Big Grey Man, a towering spectral figure said to stalk those who dare to tread too high. Some claim to see a massive humanoid shape moving through the fog. Others only hear it, giant footsteps echoing behind them, matching their pace, even when they stand still. And then there are those who don't see or hear anything at all, yet still feel it. A wave of dread so powerful, so all-consuming, that it drives them to flee for their lives without ever knowing why. Is this legend merely a trick of the mind? Or is there something ancient, something monstrous, lurking in the cairngorms? Let's discuss what the Grey Man could possibly be. While many believe Bigfoot is confined to North America, other researchers argue that large, undiscovered primates could exist across the world, like the Yeti in Asia. Could the Big Grey Man be a Scottish relative of these legendary creatures? Some reports describe the Grey Man not as a shadowy ghost, but as a massive physical entity covered in gray fur, standing nearly 10 feet tall. Unlike Bigfoot, however, this creature is more elusive, appearing only in the thickest fog, vanishing like a phantom when approached. One of the most chilling encounters comes from Tom Crowley, an experienced climber from the 1920s. While resting alone on BENMACDHUI, he saw something moving through the mist. This was not a trick of the fog, this was something alive and huge. It stood twice the height of a man, its shape obscured by the dense fog, but its presence was undeniable. He raised his rifle and fired a shot, and all he heard was silence. For a moment, Crowley thought he had imagined the whole thing, but then a deep, guttural growl rolled through the mountains. Before he could fire again, the figure vanished into the mist. He fled the mountain and never returned. In 1943, another climber, Alexander Tunian, had a near-identical experience. He too saw the massive figure, fired his gun, and watched as it disappeared into the fog, almost as if it had never been there at all. The obvious question, which we also ask about Bigfoot, if this is a flesh and blood creature, how has it remained hidden? Watch my Bigfoot video to hear my answer to that question. Could the Big Grey Man be an ancient species of primate or hominid that has survived in Scotland's remote highlands, hunting at night and using the mist as cover? And if so, how many more of them are out there? Some believe the Big Grey Man is not a creature, but something much worse, something that exists beyond the physical world. The most famous encounter with the entity came from Professor Norman Collie, a respected scientist and mountaineer. In 1891, Collie was descending BENMACDHUI alone when he noticed a strange sound behind him. Footsteps. At first, he thought it was an echo, but as he listened closer, he realized the footsteps were not matching his own. They were heavier, slower, deliberate, and they were following him. Every time he stopped, the footsteps stopped, and when he moved, they started again. A deep, primal terror overtook him. He didn't look back, he was just too afraid. Instead, he ran faster than he ever had in his life. Only when he was off the mountain did the fear release him, and he vowed never to return alone. Scientists have debated whether this could be a case of infrasound, a phenomenon where low-frequency sound waves affect the human brain. The wind howling through the mountains could be generating a frequency that induces paranoia, hallucinations, and an overwhelming sense of dread. But if this is all in the mind, why do people hear the same footsteps? Why do some see the towering figure lurking in the mist? Did a similar paranoia like this happen with the mysterious Dyatlov Pass incident? If you've never heard of the Dyatlov Pass incident, I definitely recommend you look into it. If this video gets 200 likes, I'll make a video on it. Now, the last theory. What if the big gray man isn't an unknown primate or a trick of the mind at all, but an actual man? Not just any man, but a cannibal, a survivor of Scotland's brutal past, living in the hidden caves and valleys of BENMACDHUI. History tells us that the Highlands were once a place of unimaginable hardship, where people starved in the brutal winters, and some turned to the unthinkable to survive. Legends speak of entire clans driven to cannibalism, lurking in caves and attacking travelers who wandered too far into the wilderness. One such tale tells of Sawney Bean, the infamous leader of a 16th century cannibal clan that terrorized Scotland for decades. They lived in a hidden coastal cave, capturing and eating over 1,000 victims before they were caught. But what if not all of them were caught? Could a descendant of such a clan still be hiding deep in the Cairngorms, far from civilization? As disturbing as it sounds, it would make sense for a lone, wild, feral figure to hunt those who trespass on his land. In 1952, a group of climbers discovered something chilling: a half-buried human skeleton, stripped of its flesh, in a cave near BENMACDHUI. No animals had touched it, and no missing person reports matched the remains. Was this simply an old burial site, or evidence of something dangerous still lurking in the mountains? The idea of running into a cannibalistic feral person scares the hell out of me, to be honest. I'll take my chances with Bigfoot. To this day, the big grey man remains one of Scotland's greatest mysteries. A lost species? A ghostly entity? A trick of the mind? Or is it something else entirely? Hikers still speak in hushed tones about the strange happenings on BENMACDHUI. Some refuse to climb the mountain at all. Others leave offerings, whispering their respects to the unseen force that rules the summit. And then there are those who don't believe, until they find themselves alone in the fog and hear the footsteps behind them. So, if you ever find yourself in the Cairngorms, listen carefully. You might not see it, but you'll become a believer. That's it for this video. I'm interested to know your own theories and thoughts, so please do share them in the comments. I'm also open to video ideas, so feel free to let me know. If you enjoy my videos, then please like, comment, and subscribe for more. Thank you as always. And don't forget to keep questioning reality.